Good afternoon. My topic for this afternoon is teaching grammar. How important is it really? Teaching nowadays can be problematic. I don't mean about the so-called new normal. It is problematic whether there is a pandemic or not. We live in a postmodern world. There are so many ideas on how education should be done. The postmodern world is characterized by so many ideas and opinions claiming to be the truth. Basically, in postmodernism, all truth is relative. Now, this has a lot of effects in the world of education. There is a meme that is quite a favorite of many a student and education consultant. It purportedly quotes Albert Einstein as saying that, quote, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid," unquote. Somehow, students and teachers use this as a justification for being bad in math or in English. Once I complained to our faculty chair about a certain student's weak abilities in his communication subjects. The chair said that he was a good singer and wanted to be an entertainer. "He would be great in our school festivities," she said, as if these are the qualifications for a BA communication student. I just muttered, "But this is not a song and dance school." If a student is good at singing or dancing, she or he should go to a performing arts school, not a university, and expect everybody to align to his abilities. But guess what? Einstein never said that quotation about the fish. The whole idea is contrary to education in general. The notion of education is that people can learn things. You don't have to be a math wizard to learn math, or a natural linguist or a poet to learn English or any other language. Anybody can learn grammar or calculus if one wants to. By the way, both math and English are languages. Mathematics is the language of science. Now, going back to postmodernism. Regarding postmodernist philosophy, the aims of education are teaching critical thinking, production of knowledge, development of individual and social identity, and self-creation. In postmodern education, teachers just lead students to discover new things. Now, this can be done in the study of grammar. Yet many people still ask, is teaching grammar necessary? Some even say, forget grammar. Teach the language people use and let students have fun. And they say that, quote, "grammar isn't everything," unquote. That when it comes to writing books, grammar is not the only thing, they say. It's not even the most important thing. Now, they use the Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank as the example. The publishers liked the idea of a diary that had a lot of grammatical mistakes. It proved the authenticity of the book. After all, a young girl couldn't expect to write in flawless grammar. But then, unless you are a young person writing about your daily travails while hiding with your family for fear of being caught by the Nazis or a fascistic government, your manuscript better have a correct grammar. It better have correct grammar. There are seminars or webinars that claim to teach grammar without grammar. They say, quote, "English grammar is not necessary for speaking fluently. You only need to focus on idioms, phraseology, and slangs in order to communicate like a native," unquote. Well, it is quite true that for many people, after years of studying English grammar in school, they still could not master it. That includes native English speakers. Just like my friend John, an Englishman. He married a Filipina and was living in a condo in Green Hills. Although he speak more like Michael Caine than Richard Burton, I had no problem understanding him. He and his wife went back to England. One day a mutual friend showed me an email from him. To my shock, the email was written in English, but the grammar was totally shot. He could hardly compose a grammatically correct sentence. And to think that I could understand him perfectly, or so I thought when we were speaking to each other. So even native-born speakers of the Queen's English can have serious difficulties with the English grammar. As Aimee mentioned in her book, anxiety stops writers from writing. Anxiety is also what stops language learners from learning grammar. Just looking at the many rules of grammar frightens them. When they hear or read experts say that grammar is not important, they tend to believe that, or they would want to believe that. But grammar is important, and anxiety is not. To minimize or get rid of anxiety from students, teachers must make learning grammar fun for students. The teacher needs to devise games to make grammar learning fun. I usually include all kinds of language games like crossword puzzles or trivia questions in my grammar classes. There are many language games like vocabulary games, structure games, conservation games, role play, number games, spelling games, writing games, dramatics. During our 3-hour laboratory classes in English, I usually show them the British sitcom Mind Your Language, which is about a class of foreign students learning English in London. It's a very funny TV series, and the students love it. After the show, we do exercises on grammar based on the topics of the show. For students, it is advisable to practice speaking the language. To get rid of anxiety, students need to pretend that grammar doesn't exist. While they try to learn all the grammatical rules, when they speak, they can pretend that grammar doesn't exist. Now, there is no grammar police who'd give you a ticket if your verb does not match with your noun or your tenses do not agree with one another. When I was in high school, I was afraid to speak English because I was afraid to commit grammatical mistakes. But during our time, if boys speak with girls, whether in school or in parties, English was the norm. Now, how could I meet girls if I couldn't speak with them? One day I overheard my teenage older sister talking on the phone. I was aghast at all the grammatical mistakes she was making. But she was speaking English very confidently and in a fluid manner. If I wouldn't listen very carefully, I might not even notice the grammatical mistakes. From then on, I decided to speak English and not think of grammar at all. And it worked. In parties, I met a lot of girls who seemed to be impressed with my English. Teachers and students must first be convinced that grammar is important. Otherwise, teaching grammar would be an exercise in futility. Now, why is grammar important? Because grammar is in everyone's daily life. Using grammar or proper grammar is important. It shows that you know how to communicate well and people understand what you are saying. Language is used for communication. Meaning of the message is transferred as accurately as possible from your mind to the mind of the reader-receiver. Remember the SMCR model in communication? To have proper communication, message must be understood by the receiver. A message that is well phrased grammatically correct and without spelling errors is going to be better understood by the receiver, reader, audience. If the correct message or if the correct meaning of the message is not understood, then there is no communication. Grammar is important for many reasons. Using proper grammar helps you to think logically and distinctly. You will develop effective communication skills. It improves your fluency in the language. It is very beneficial when you are applying for a job. Not being able to pass a message clearly can diminish your organization's name. Poor use of grammar can give a negative impression about you. It helps you to build a reputation as a professional. Grammar helps you gain credibility. Finally, the cover of Aimee's book is a sculpture of rocks that are delicately balanced on top of other rocks. It is supposed to represent, quote, the best sequence of words, like the alignment of rocks in a sculpture. It will hold the whole sentence up into a beautiful balanced arrangement, unquote. Now that is the job of grammar, to hold the sentence up into a beautiful balanced arrangement. Thank you.